أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وصلى الله على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Assalamu alaikum, my brothers in Islam. In this video, I am going to comment on a program aired in Peace Satellite Television today by prominent scholars, I think about 4 or 5 of them, in which they mentioned extremism among Muslim youths. Well, I did not like the program because they referred to the Battle of Uhud in particular, saying that the youths or something of that nature participated actively in making Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam not stay in Medina and defend the Islamic State. My brothers, we have to be extremely careful in commenting on Islam within the first 34 years after Hijrah. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam categorically, explicitly praised that period. He said, the life of the Muslim Umma will be revolving around 35th, 36th, and 37th years after the Hijrah. Whichever one they decide on their own freedom of choice, association, speech, that will be their life. That is the template on which the life of the Muslim Ummah is based. It's just like anything scientifically. Call it hemoglobin, heme, osteoblasts, whatever you want, action potential, initiation, anything, it must have a base, otherwise it does not exist. So Islam in the period after Hijrah is nothing but an extension, simplification of the Torah. So if you want explain the youths, you begin with who? Very difficult. We don't know them in the book of Genesis except Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. 1 out of 250,000 inhabitants in Nineveh who stood up and explained according to the prevailing circumstances, knowledge, ability to distinguish, said that there can't be a source of superiority, creator, one who has to command, and his command is perfect, can't be altered except one, Allah. Who were those challenging him? They were elders, his elders, under which influence? Worldly influences, arrogance, assumptions of superiority. They challenged him. But he stood by his evidences and the proofs that he doesn't like anything that is a beginning and then it ends. And then his arguments were physical and challenging. The sun, the moon, and the night. So if you take continuously, the youths played a very significant role in Islam in defending the nature of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Look at David Dawood and the Goliath. So, let us please, in trying to explain Islam, explain it in the most appropriate, acceptable, perfected, chosen, and simplified way. There's no doubt about it. Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, at the age of 25, was honored, dignified, and recognized definitely, although surreptitiously at that particular time, as a leader. They called him Al-Amin, 25 years of old. What of those around him? They are all aristocrats. They had the knowledge, but arrogantly, they want power, they want positions, they want the best women, and they want to be named. So if we take the trend in, I don't like to use the word Islamic development, in the relationship between the Creator, nobody will ever doubt the Creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, today. Definitely. And his creations. We found that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala recognizes the youths who have the ability, the power. They are unadulterated, their mind. Definitely. In a respectable, honorable position. What happened in the Battle of Uhud is a lesson. And if you look at the list of the martyrs, those who were killed in the Battle of Uhud, let us do the exercise first of all before we can convince. We are scientists. Don't talk without proof and evidence. If there is a mistake in Islam, yes, we understood it to be nothing but part of teaching. Don't repeat it. That is the most important. There must be mistakes. Islam, the Sharia, was not built in darkness, out of halos. No. It was established, perfected, based on man's experience and his relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the sphere of choose and reject. I don't like, again, mentioning the phrase or this general statement that man is bound to make mistakes. I don't like it. Yes, you are bound to make mistakes with that retrospective experience. But with the perfection, simplification of the command, how can you make a mistake? You can naturally forget, but not major mistakes that are not acceptable in Islam. Now, if we now move to Hudaybiyah, there was rejection. By who? The Sahabas, in particular Umar ibn Khattab and others. Virtually saying they revolted against Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. We must move to Mecca. We are chosen by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are sure of defeating them. But Islam was not to be established on pride and arrogance, that we have to fight our way out. That was not the establishment of Islam. So Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam accepted the request of the arrogant cousins and nephews that he should not enter Mecca because they want to keep their position, that they are people to be recognized and listened to. So he agreed on the arbitration and the peace, the treaty of Hudaybiyah. Did he lose? He did not lose. So, if we move again to what happened in the time of Uthman ibn Affan, his last 8 years or 7 years or 6 years, what was the reason about his murder? We should justify it in order to bring shame and insult to the Muslim Umma today. In the time of Uthman ibn Affan, demand has outstripped the supply. There are so many figures given on the surviving Sahabas, 34 or from 28 to 34 after Hijrah. What is the level of education of the Sahabas? Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, Iman is simple. I keep on repeating a letter, a word, a verse, and a surah. They all tells you to be determined and to fight for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But now the curse is, you don't have a leader, the Khalifa of a Khalifa. Let us understand that Allah is with us. He is supposed to be our, whatever name you prefer to design and call, Sultan, Prime Minister, President. He is the one actually, but based on trust. One who will represent him, responsible authority and trust, that it is his command that is unchangeable in the manner he commands what is ever in the heavens and the earth, except we human beings, because we have the ability to choose and reject choice, and that he will definitely punish us if we refuse to obey him. That is the crux of the problem that led to the murder of Uthman ibn Affan and ultimately the murder of Ali ibn Abi Talib. The man has outstripped the supply. The Sahaba, the teachers, were scanty. At that time, the empire of Islam, according to, I think, the imagination or the figures given, I think in Atlas of Islam, was 3.5 million square miles. Those actually who precipitated or augmented the confusion were not from Medina or Mecca. Never They were far, far away. Where? Iraq, Syria, and Egypt. People are somewhat overwhelmed that the Sahabas were all over the place, but how many? 2, 3, 4. The highest number was in Kufa, then followed by Basra, but they kept on dying. The population has outstripped. It's just like today. Probably in Nigeria, you enter a classroom in the university or anywhere, you find 200 students with only one teacher. How will they understand? That's why we are backward. Not for anything else. The teaching is inadequate. There, you don't need resources. Yes, you need resources because you have to travel. What were their resources? So, instead of us to wrongly accuse those who are in heavens today, I think it's better we reflect on ourselves and find the causes of extremism. It is nothing but the failure of the elders through what? Loving the world. Arrogance. Self-esteeming. I am the best. Leadership. That is the principal cause of extremism. Lack of knowledge of what the Sunnah calls us to do, directs us. It is indelible as Tawheed. You can't change the Sunnah in the manner you can't change Tawheed. We must face the reality. Youths can't be arrogant. They can't be the precipitating factor of our problem today if we had the Caliphate. Youths, at what age? What is the definition? We have examples, but there are not many. They accepted Islam wholeheartedly. They want explanation, especially today, in the field of curiosity. Who explains? We don't explain even on the footprint of what they call advanced theology. Theology is nothing. You don't need theology, advanced theology, to explain the Sunnah and convince one. No, the theology is actually the driving force to extremism in the process of innovation. I will repeat. Extremism is caused by innovation behind the driving force of only Allah. And if you say only Allah, it must be only Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So that equation is now totally rejected. At the base they talk of Allah, but it's not Allah that is the driving force. Allah is the base. But what grows out of it is weak, cannot actually perform its functions. It's just like a cilia, squamous cell, which is weak, denudation. It will lead you to what? Iron deficiency anemia, because it does not absorb anything in the stomach. That is it. And it's prone to malignancy. That is the cause of extremism. I'm a scientist. And I'm sorry, explaining Islam on the basis of my profession. Just like a denuded squamous cell epithelium of the stomach that can't absorb iron. It is just like anything, lack of proteins. It cannot transport drugs. Therefore, you will ever remain sick. That is the cause of extremism, but not among the youths. I know Peace TV will never apologize, saying that they do not study carefully the implication of saying that extremism is caused by the youths. No, my brothers, we have seen a lot of problem, a lot of insult innovations. Who are those leaders? Let me take the imamship in Kaaba and the Medina. How old are they? I think one imam is probably, I think, my age group, Huzaifa, 75 or 76. But you can't correct Huzaifa. No youth can correct Huzaifa. That they are innovating in the two masjids. Nobody, no youth can correct him, and the youth don't know because they have been discouraged to read Islam independently, except under the shadow of Mazhaba. The West is completely under the Mazhaba of Hanafi, and I have been trying to fight them. It's unfortunate we don't have Twitter in Nigeria today, but I have been fighting them. They never listen. So arrogant. That is Hanafi. What is Hanafi? The Sunnah is so extreme. The Sunnah is so vast. You have to read it. But most of Western and European scholars, they say they are specialists, experts on what Tawheed. One letter out of how many? 347,000? There's none that convinced me that I have to obey Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, otherwise I will enter hell. That is it. I just need proof that yes, I must obey Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, otherwise I am in hell. One letter out of 347,000. I don't need the rest. Throw them away. If you know all the 346,999, I only know one, and I stick, I'm better than you. So please, those scholars, let them not be under the sponsorship of oil, wealth, and revenue to cause further distortion, misinterpretation of the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam will never lose. We are the ones to suffer and face the disgrace in this world and a much tormented one in the hereafter. Assalamu alaikum.